Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Mike Burns. I am with Seattle Met, and we're live here tonight with FlyHomes and the esteemed FlyHome experts. Hope everyone is doing great tonight. That's awesome. I'd like to get started by introducing our main host from FlyHomes, Emma.
Hey, Mike, we're happy to be co-hosting, bringing awareness and hopefully some peace of mind to many people interested in the home buying and selling process. Just a little bit about FlyHomes. You're created in 2016 to address the pain points that buyers actually had in the marketplace. One of our co-founders actually experienced that firsthand, and that's why FlyHomes was created. And so we've done really well in creating those kind of strengths for our buy side, and now we've delved that into and putting that into our sellers, creating that leverage and success when it comes to buying and selling their homes.
That's great. Wonderful to see you, Emma. So who do we have joining us tonight from FlyHomes?
Yeah, we've got a wonderful set of teammates here. I've got Sophia Liu, who's our director of our Buy Before You Sell program, Kevin Mao, who's our mortgage sales manager, Katie Gemlin, our Seattle brokerage sales manager, and Natalie Wilson, our Portland FlyHomes agent.
It's nice to see each one of you. I can't wait to get started. By the way, everyone who's on tonight, make sure you stay tuned. We're going to have an easy trivia contest at the end, and the final answer wins a $100 Visa gift card.
Who doesn't like a gift card right before the holidays? You can either use that for yourself or buy a gift for someone else.
Yeah, right.
All right, so let's dive into the details of who FlyHomes is and what we do specifically. So, Mike, let me know, have you bought and sold a home before?
I have, and I can't imagine going through it. It's an already stressful process going through the circumstances. From what I've read, the housing market is extremely competitive, and how does everyone compete on an equal footing? So why is the market so hot right now?
Well, there's actually a lot of different factors and components that go along with that. So typically, people that who have owned the home for a long time really have a lot of equity in their home, so it's easy for them to transition into the new homes. But now we're seeing that everyone, especially with the pandemic, is getting into it and then wanting to see that they want to have that home ownership for themselves, especially with the pandemic and the lower mortgage interest rates, as we've seen in last year. People are starting to realize that they can actually have that type of new lifestyle for themselves. So these are the times when we have to figure out ways that we can help build up that cash for our clients going forward. So it especially applies to potential home buyers who have to sell their current home to access their potential buying power. So one of the things that's important to understand when it comes to buying property is understanding down payment. So did you know that currently now you don't need 20% to buy their next house?
Wow, I didn't know that. I'm sure that makes a big difference to people. So what can someone do to be successful? Interest rates are low, so it
Mhm.
makes sense for people to want to purchase a home, but the market's really intimidating.
Yes, that is true. So now, just want to touch base before we start getting into with my teammates here, is that actually the National Association of Realtors actually said that since you don't need 20% down to buy a house, you can actually need probably just only about 12% or less. And so we'll
Wow.
go ahead and have my team start talking a little bit more about how that and what we do at Fly Homes can help them. So they can actually give you pointers on how home buyers can handle such an aggressive market. The first thing that a home buyer and seller should consider is their budget and their access to their equity. So we'll go ahead and kick things off with Kevin on the mortgage side.
Thank you. Thank you, Emma. So if you're considering purchasing a home, you probably already have been thinking about getting the pre-approval. This is a document that you can get from a mortgage loan officer. It shows the seller, the maximum, and yourself, the maximum loan amount that you could be getting and approved for. And when you're making an offer, it gives the seller an assurance that the deal will go through. However, pre-underwriting actually takes it a step further. At FlyHomes Mortgage, our in-house mortgage underwriters will fully review your financial situation and provide a stronger pre-underwriting approval while you are shopping for a home. Underwriting pre-approval actually has some advantages as well. When you're making an offer in competitive markets such as Seattle and Portland, it actually gives you an edge as well. Sellers and listing agents, they know the steps that you have gone through to obtain this document, and as well as the strong financial position that you're in amongst other buyers. And obviously, if you're using FlyHomes Buy Before You Sell program, our excuse me, pre-underwriting will even omit your current mortgage, consider your proceeds from selling the home, and gives you a max loan amount as well as the a higher purchasing power. So now I will pass to Sophia, a director for Buy Before You Sell, to chat a little bit more about the program.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. As Kevin said before, there's a lot of current homeowners that's also in the marketplace to hoping to make a transition and move into their next home as well. So traditional, there has been a couple of different ways people can make that transition. You could either buy your new home first and then sell your current one, assuming that you actually have the financial power to do so, being able to qualify for a higher amount for the new home. If you don't, then the other way around is to actually buy your new home with a contingent offer, which isn't very competitive these days, given the lack of inventory and just how crazy the market has been. The other way traditionally people have been able to do make a transition with their current home is to sell first and then buy in order to access their equity. However, for a lot of people who have a bigger family with kids and pets, it's a logistical hassle to actually make that move, or just listing your home on the market first, and then either move to somewhere else temporarily or sell your home when you're still living in it. So it's definitely a very troubled process for a lot of homeowners that prevents them from making that leap into the new home. So that's where we have seen a lot of success with the Buy Before You Sell program at FlyHomes, where we actually allow you to move into your new home before you even sell your current home. And there are several benefits with it. One is we're actually able to leverage the equity in your current home so that you can maximize the budget for your new home before you even sell your current one. And of course, it helps you with less hassle with one-time moving. And with our cash offer on the buy side, you can even close in as quickly as 10 to 14 days. So getting to your new home super quickly, and then we can get started with selling your current home as well. And then the last benefit with the Buy Before You Sell is also to sell your home, current home really fast and also at top dollars with all the services and package that we offer through the listing process. So altogether, it should be a win-win situation for you as a homeowner to move into your new home in a direct transition and then sell your home at the top dollar. So I will pass it to Katie to speak a little bit about what you guys are seeing with the clients you're interacting with and also the marketplace in Seattle and Portland.
Thank you, Sophia. So yes, I totally agree with everything that Kevin and Sophia have brought up so far. Making sure you're pre-approved and pre-underwritten prior to making offers is definitely the ideal. We want to kind of the standard format of how things go in Seattle right now is homes come on the market Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So you want to get in early and see those homes. Offers tend to be reviewed the following week, maybe on Monday or Tuesday, Sunday, Monday or Tuesday. So getting in early is really important. The other piece to that is sometimes the sellers don't always stick to the review date. So getting in early is important so you could potentially put in an early offer. That may or may not help you, but it might help you and you might win the house at maybe a slightly lower price based off of the fewer competition a little bit earlier on. It's funny because December, everyone thinks, oh gosh, the market must have slowed down. Right. It actually doesn't slow down. We still have multiple offers on all of the homes. The difference is there's not as many homes on the market. So each home has more people looking. And so we're kind of, waiting for more inventory. So if you have that home to sell, this is a great time to sell it. You're definitely going to maximize your profit. I think that's kind of the sum of what's going on in Seattle. It's still very busy. We're still actively hunting for homes for clients and also still listing homes for clients. So with that, I'll pass it on to Natalie Wilson from Portland.
Great, Katie. And I mean, everybody on this call that's presenting knows that Portland and Seattle, very similar markets in the fact that, these are just really desirable cities. People want to live here. The competition reflects that, and, 4 years ago, I would have a little bit of a dip sometimes before the holidays. I would have things be a little slower with my clients around this time, but it is just not the case this year, last year. And it's just a supply and demand question. It's cheap to borrow right now. You can do a lot with your money because loans aren't crazy expensive. So it's a very similar story where we have, for us, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Friday, those are the days where things are really going to be popping onto the market. Those are the big list days. And we really need to be getting into those homes ASAP so that if we can write an early offer, if that seems like something that the seller is open to and interested in, never, it always sets a good impression to be the first one. There is some, a lot of the importance of your success kind of lies on your agent's communication with the listing agent, with the home that you are trying to win. And you really want to make sure that your agent is in contact as soon as possible on that home that you have toured and you love, so that you're not left in the dark in the event that they don't stick to the review period, because it is just so competitive. And we want to come in with those cash offers, and we want to come in with the best terms that we possibly can, because a lot of the time you're just getting that one chance of your highest and best offer. So that's what's happening in Portland, very similar to Seattle. It's in exciting time, but tough time also. And that's why we have the products that we do.
That's great. Thanks, team, for all that really helpful information. So based on what they said, it seems like it's a pretty complicated process. So how can we be sure that sellers can feel confident that their homes will sell? What kind of guarantees can FlyHomes offer them?
I can hop onto this. So I think one of the biggest concerns, and I had a lot of listing experience before I came to FlyHomes years ago, and there's always anxiety around selling, right? Like, we know the market's healthy. We know that there's this demand, but you just never know till it's kind of like throwing a party. You just don't know who's going to show up until people actually start touring through and they're actually writing offers. And, you kind of prepare everything and, give yourself the best opportunity. But because we are giving people the ability to write cash offers, basically using the equity of their home to allow them to go and do that, we understand that they need some comfort. They need some security. They need to know that they're not going to be stuck with two houses for eternity in case, something very unexpected happens, because you are making that cash offer first. And so what FlyHomes has done, and what, Sophia has kind of come up with as part of building this program, is that we're able to guarantee a price that FlyHomes is willing to purchase the house ourselves before you even write that cash offer on the new home. So 180 days, after we've listed, we are able to say, okay, here's the money, you're out of this, you're good to go, you're on to your new home that you've already moved into, you already love. We know that it's very, very unlikely that any of our clients are ever going to get to that point because the market is so hot. And we know that the way for them to get the most money for their house is to expose it to the marketplace. But we do have that emergency brake just to make sure that, there is a solution, and it's a solution that is something that they can count on from the beginning of the process.
Great. Thanks, Natalie. Appreciate that. Katie, what are your experiences in terms of the marketplace in Seattle, in terms of how many days on market we're experiencing with our listings?
Right. So most homes, the average days on market is about 7, but you have to remember that average, actually, a lot of homes go off the market immediately within 0, 1, or 2 days. And the reason why it would stay on 7 days is because we have that week buffer for allowing people to view the homes and getting in there and being able to have that review date on that following week. So the only reason why it would be 7 days is because of allowing more people to come in. And that is also what kind of creates the multiple offer situation. So if we definitely want to try to stick to that review date for if we're representing the sellers, because it's going to encourage more people to view that home, get in there, love that home, and hopefully maximize the profit in the end for our sellers.
Great. So now we can imagine like people are probably now that they're listening to us are ready to sell their homes, but are buyers ready to actually move? So just kind of wanted to touch base. Seattle and Portland experts weigh in on the state of the markets as we move into 2022. And although the market has slowed down, as everyone has mentioned, it's still pretty hot. So it's important to be able to, as from what Katie and Natalie are saying, is to be able to make sure to keep both sides steady, watching the market and working with your agents to make sure to get in when it's right time. So Sophia touched in on the fact that with buy before you sell, buyers can close in as few as 10 days and move right away. So Sophia, is that set in stone or is there some flexibility on that?
Yeah. So in today's market, there's definitely a lot of negotiation, and also based on what the seller and buyer preferences are, a lot of discussion before you actually set a closing date in the contract. So of course, for the seller, typically a faster closing date is always desirable for the reason that they can actually get their proceeds back and then move on to the next thing that they want to do. So in those situations, with our FlyHomes cash offer as part of the buy before you sell program, we can close in as quickly as 10 to 14 days, so that buyer can put out a super competitive offer along with a very few contingencies or even no contingency offer together, so that the seller are more likely to accept the offer from us. However, I know especially right now with holidays in between, closing time periods and things like that, we're seeing a lot of sellers sometimes prefer to stay in their house for a little bit longer. So in those cases, of course, it's a communication between your buyer agent and the listing agent on the other end, so that we can have an agreed upon closing date for both parties that would work for both ends. But with a cash offer, we can do as quickly as 10 to 14 days. But if it needs to be longer, we can also accommodate as well.
Great. Thanks, Sophia. All right. Well, that's pretty much it for all the information that we had to share today. So let's open up the floor for some Q&As. Comment with your questions.
Great. Well, you know what? I'm going to go first. How has the COVID pandemic changed the home buying experience? Are there more virtual tours or folks still touring homes in person?
I have seen where at the beginning of the pandemic, a lot of virtual. Everyone was stressed. I feel like I've never seen more vacant homes listed than ever before. I feel like people were very anxious about how many people were coming into the house. The number of people in the group was limited in a lot of states. There are actually a lot of mandates that real estate had to follow. Our people were still in there, still getting it done, doing everything they could to get. And sometimes it came down to an edge for our clients because they were able to get in and, we had all the precautions that we needed, the gloves, the mask, the hand sanitizer, all that stuff. I feel like that has mostly gone away. I see very little of that left. I think that especially in Portland, we have a high number of people who are vaccinated. I think that has kind of, alleviated some of those stresses for both people who are going on to market and people who are trying to get into a new home.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what's the advice you can give someone who's getting ready to start their journey with FlyHome?
I definitely think when you start thinking about purchasing a home, I definitely think speaking to an experienced loan officer, getting to know what your budget is, think a little bit more deeply, where your assets are, what your estimated monthly costs are, getting yourself pre-underwritten or pre-approved But obviously, like I said before, pre-underwriting is a little bit more, speaks a little louder when you're making offers, because a mortgage underwriter will review your file completely, such as your assets, income, your liabilities, just to make sure that we won't see any hiccups when you actually purchase the home.
Right.
Once you are pre-underwritten before you close on the transaction, I definitely would say, avoid those big purchases. Even if you really want to get that car, maybe let's wait for, finish on the home purchase first before you make large transactions. Those could kind of, definitely affect how much of a loan you can be approved for. Or, if you're thinking about getting a job, I'm not saying that don't get a job, but if you're thinking about getting a new job, definitely talk to your loan officer first. Depends on, how much income and how it's structured. It could also change, your goals as well when it comes to home purchase.
So just to be clear, pre-underwritten and pre-approval are two different things?
They're very similar. Pre-approval is usually reviewed by an automated system. Once you submit some documents, pre-underwriting is a little bit more thorough. A mortgage underwriter, so that's someone who approves your loan when you go into contract. For FlyHomes, we have in-house underwriters. They will take a look at your mortgage application and then get you pre-underwritten, which is stronger than a pre-approval.
Great. We have another question from Chris in Portland. What's your advice on writing an offer the first weekend that a listing has debuted? Is it a good idea or a bad idea?
Since it's coming from Portland, I'll pop in here. I will say, I think that it is usually not advisable because, and this is part where you're going to have that conversation with your agent, right? Where it's like, hey, what do you see things going and bidding up to in this area of town? Is it in one area, it might be that it's going to be more like $40,000. In another area, it might be $100,000. One of the things that your agent should do whenever you're choosing to write an offer is to do a comp analysis to see where the other homes in the area have listed and where they have sold. And if all of those homes, or even offers that, they wrote the weekend before that or the weekend before that, they may know, hey, all the homes in this area are going from $50,000 to $70,000 over list price. And that is usually the case. Usually homes are being put on at competitive prices. And the reason for that is because experienced buyers, people who have been writing and who do know what this is like and the level of competition, they're tacking on that amount to any list price that they're looking at.
Right.
So you really have to keep that in mind. Usually, if you can only do list price for a new listing, your best bet is to let it be exposed a little bit to the marketplace. And then if it hasn't gone, they've overshot it. Or there's something undesirable that may allow you to, maybe it's not a big deal to you, maybe it's a big deal to other people. Maybe you're going to be able to get even go under a little bit of list price a couple of weeks after it's been exposed. I think that's important. And it's one of the biggest things that I see trip up buyers who are just entering the market, who maybe haven't been watching what listings are doing on, all of the different sites that we've got out there for information.
Great. Another question is, what's the biggest aha to watch out for as a seller in a fast and furious bidding scenario? That came from Les in Seattle.
I'll go ahead and take that one. So basically from the seller's perspective, you want to look for the cleanest offer that you're going to get. It may not be the highest because sometimes there are some other contingencies, or maybe the lender isn't as strong as perhaps another lender that you might have. Maybe somebody's waiving financing, maybe somebody's cash. So there are a lot of facets that go into reviewing offers. If you have, two offers that are the same price, you want to look at all the different details along with it. What contingencies are there? Who's waiving what? What are the close dates? Does it matter? does that close date matter to you? Is it going to be that extra week? Does that make a difference to you as the seller? So what you as the seller are looking for is the easiest way you're going to close the deal without thinking that the buyers have a way to back out. As a seller, the other thing that you want to probably do is get a pre-listing inspection on your home to present that to your buyers, so they can feel a little bit more comfortable about waiving the inspection on your home. Just a lot of different facets that go along to it. So that would be my recommendation.
Great. I have another question, kind of in the same vein as getting if one of the contingencies is an inspection. Tavanda, who is in Houston, asked, is it a good idea to do a thorough walkthrough of the home to check the foundation cracks, electrical issues, plumbing? How would you answer that question? Because sometimes it's part of your mortgage process. Is that correct?
Yeah, when it comes to the mortgage process, yes, we do appraisal, which determines the value of the home. But when it comes to the real estate side, I think there's a lot of the inspection as well. I think referring to the question, is that correct?
Yeah, I can jump in here. So as a buyer, I would say all the agents should always be advising you to get a inspection on the home. If not after getting under contract, try to do it before getting under contract as well, so that you at least have an idea of what are some issues that may be popping up after you take ownership of the home, so that there are things that you plan for, set budget for, or maybe there's opportunity to have a conversation with the seller to see what are some arrangement that you can make together as well. And typically when you do arrange that inspection, it's being done by a licensed inspector that will do all the major system structure checks, maybe even some cosmetic stuff as well, just so that you're aware of all the issues for the home.
Right.
So yes, always a good idea to make sure you understand the health of the building.
Yeah, you're making the biggest purchase of your life, so it's good to know what you're getting into before you sign all the papers, right?
Yes.
I think we have one more I think we answered part of it, but I think it's worthwhile to go through one more time. What are the deal killers when you're in pre-underwriting? So what are some of the things we should not do when we're trying to get a mortgage?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I know it's in the holiday season. We're doing a lot of shopping. I think I mentioned it a little bit earlier. If you're thinking about purchasing a car or any large purchases that could involve, a loan, personal loan, a car loan, definitely should avoid that while you are shopping for a home, whether you're getting pre-underwritten or if you're already in contract. Getting additional loan could change how much debt and how much you can afford when you're going through the approval process. So definitely should avoid those. And like I said, if you're thinking about getting a new job, definitely consult with your mortgage loan officer first, so we can, get to know how your compensation is structured, as a lot of those things have different qualification processes, and it could change how much of a loan you can be approved for.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Kevin.
You're
and
welcome.
One last question that we have is, the market, it's slowing down just a little bit. Are there any predictions of what will happen in the new year?
I think that's the big question. I think a lot of it is going to have to do with interest rates, right? Like, how long is money going to be this inexpensive to borrow? I think that we have seen a lot of wild things in the last couple years, pandemic, in the Pacific Northwest. We've had some different things pop up with even just like kind of, smoke from California. There's all kinds of things that have been happening, and it is just not slowed down. People want to be here. People want to be buying homes. I think that people have realized in the last couple of years how important home is, how much time we're really spending there right now. So I think personally, I think we should keep a really close eye on interest rates, because I think that that's where the shift is probably going to exist.
Good. Thank you. Anybody else want to add anything to that? Okay. Well, we have two more things that we would like to do tonight. And one of them is to give away a gift card. So I'm going to ask a question. Well, actually, Emma's going to ask the question. And the first person to respond will be the winner. The other thing was, if you want more information, please log on to flyhomes.com and schedule a time with one of our local experts. So what's the question, Emma?
So the question is, true or false? You are required to put 20% down to buy a house.
Good question. I know the answer. I was listening, but I can't win tonight. But I could use the $100. Okay, we're waiting for an answer. Okay, I think we have a winner. It's Maria. Maria Arredondo is our winner tonight. Congratulations. That concludes our event with FlyHomes tonight. I'd like to thank everyone for being here with us and giving us so much great information. Boy, real estate is an important subject matter. Everyone is interested in it. I say it's everyone's hobby because when you're in it, it's a big investment and you want to know everything about it. So thanks, FlyHomes, for all your expert advice tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Everyone, have a great night.